Hi, I'm Anthony for Sydney Backyard Veggies. We're in the middle of February and I have been over the last few weeks really pushing to get a lot of my autumn veggies in the ground. I planted out my broccoli seedlings in the south facing beds about 2 weeks ago and they're looking absolutely amazing. I'll show you how they are progressing at the moment. But first, I've been spending the afternoon planting out my cauliflower seedlings. And these seedlings, I started them off at about the same time as I started off my broccoli seedlings in early January. Planted out 3 rows at the moment, still got more seedlings to plant out. The variety I'm planting here is called Serenity, and I planted them out in spacings 40 centimeters apart in rows 40 centimeters apart. I had been waiting for the weather to cool down a bit, and today had a nice 25-degree day, so I decided to get planting them out. I had been digging the soil over in this bed over the last day or so and finally cleared a lot of that weed matter and garden waste. And then I prepared the bed, adding organic matter to build up the organic profile in the soil. In the case for this planting, I used cow manure, bagged cow manure. I added 4 bags in this area, and the idea there is over time, with every addition of organic material, just builds up that organic content. In addition to the cow manure, I've added a good handful of blood and bone. Decided to go with blood and bone this season, and I've decided to add that at the planting stage, and just had to spread it lightly across the bed, and I've dug that in. And then I've gone and set up my rows with my rake, and I've set that out at that 40 centimeter spacing and progressively been planting out my seedlings. I find that spacing works well for these cauliflowers. This variety isn't got an overly large head, so that 40 centimeter spacing is perfect to get the right density planted across the bed and really get that productivity from that section of the patch. I've still got a few more seedlings to plant out. I'm going to plant one final row. I'll just show you the remainder of the seedlings. And these seedlings are looking quite good. Considering these were started off 6 weeks ago, I've just been quite busy over the last few weeks coming back to work after my extended break and just trying to find some time in the patch to get out there during the heat waves that we've been having here in Sydney. Has been quite difficult. But today is the day. I'm going to go and form up one final row in that bed there. I'm going to space it at 40 centimeter spacing, and I'll come through and plant those final seedlings. Going through my seedlings, and I've got in the order of 12 seedlings left over to plant out, so I've got plenty of seedlings to get into the ground. And that's the seedling. It's looking quite nice. They do have a little bit of insect damage, and that's of course it's just been in the punnets too long. I've had to give them a little bit of a treatment to kill off the leaf miners. And just moving along at that 40 centimeter spacing. So I've already got the other plants lined up at the right required spacing. So just measure it along and continue planting the seedlings. I like getting an early start on my cauliflower. Generally speaking, they do take about 60-70 days to produce, and if I'm planting these cauliflowers in the ground now, I'll be harvesting these in early April, early to mid-April. I did the same thing last year where I planted my first round in at the same time. Big crop of cauliflower that I harvested then, and so it's great to be able to get a harvest so early in the season. And my planting scheme generally calls for 3 plantings of cauliflower as at least. I like to get my second planting in about 6 weeks time, and the third planting just in mid-July, and that would take me for the season. I've got now 4 rows of 7, 28 plants in total. It's going to be a great start to the season. It's going to keep me come and give these seedlings a bit of a watering in. It's quite hot at the moment. Just want to make sure to get some water in before the evening, and I will be adding some sun protection on those really hot days when it's going to be too much sun in this northwest facing bed. I'm back out in the patch this afternoon, day after I planted out those cauliflower seedlings, and I had to install a bit of shade structure over the plants to save them from the sun. It was actually a 27-degree day. Started off cold, but it really heated up, and with this location being a west facing spot, it just gets the full brunt of the sun all day. I'm going to remove the shade structure. This is just standard bed sheets and the like, and you can just see underneath there the plants are still doing fine. I put the sheet on the bed fairly early this morning. As soon as the sun hit, the plants started to wilt, so I had to put that as protection. But I'm going to install some irrigation on these plants. I find that giving them a deep watering really helps them settle in and really helps them survive the sunny onslaught that we've been getting over the next few days. I'm going to take away the sheets and show you how my plants look, give an update how my plants look, and then I'll start installing my irrigation. Just remove that shade structure off the bed, and you can see the seedlings are looking quite good, not overly wilted. Some of them didn't fare as well, but this one here, as long as the growing tip is still upright, it should bounce back, but it does need a bit of water. The main issue with starting your brassica season this early is that you do need to work through that 2-week period in February where the weathers are here in Sydney are over that 30-degree temperature, and your plants do struggle. So if you can plant them in a morning sun area where it gets mostly morning sun rather than afternoon sun, it'd probably be the better choice. I am going to install my irrigation on these plants and give them a really deep soak in to really encourage them to handle the heat, and I'll show you the irrigation system that I use. The irrigation system that I use in my garden is based on the weeper hose system. I have a couple of 100 meters worth of weeper hose laid out throughout my beds, and what I do is I use this for all my watering, and I have the system based on a timer which allows me to irrigate for about 10 minutes a day in the summer periods, and probably 10 minutes every second day in the cooler times. The advantage of using this, it's just very easy to roll out. I just roll across the beds, install each of the rows, and it's good to go. I can also cover it in soil, and it has no problems with it being blocking up. Disadvantages I have is that as it's part of one system, I can't switch off sections of the hose to not water parts of the bed. So sometimes you are watering beds that are empty. When they do break, or if they do get a puncture, I can always mend it using hose connectors. But besides that, it's been working quite well in my garden. I do want to I am looking at an alternate system, but for now I've spent the money on the hoses, so I'm going to continue using it. Just got my irrigation running, and as you can see, every row, just bring the hose close proximity to the plant. I mean, ideally the closer the better, but within 10 centimeters is fine. As you can see, it's only just started irrigating, but there's plenty of water. I like this system. It gives that real slow drip adjacent to the plants, and it really gets that water deep. So I'm going to run the irrigation. I'll usually run it for about 10 minutes, and I'll run it now, and then I'll run it again in the morning, just to make sure the plants are fully hydrated before the sun comes out. I will put the shade cloth again tomorrow, but for another 4 or 5 days is probably enough until the plants really settle in, and then I'll be able just to remove that structure and let them be. This afternoon I'm just moving on to my first planting of broccoli. I really wanted to give you an update on how these are going. These seedlings were started at the same time as the cauliflower seedlings I just planted 2 days ago. But these ones have been in the ground now for about 3 weeks, so I just want to show you how they look in, and I'm going to have to give them a first round of fertilizer as well. So this is my first planting of broccoli. The variety is called Aurora, and I planted these in rows 40 centimeters apart, and within the rows at 40 centimeters apart. Now these were planted 3 weeks ago. I got in early, turned over this bed and planted them out. I got a kind of 24 plants in this area. Plants are looking really good. Just some signs of leaf miner attacking them earlier in the stage, and when the weather is this hot, you still get a lot more cabbage moth larvae attacking these too, so I've been staying on top of those, looking out for them. Got the irrigation on. I've been watering them regularly to make sure that they handle the heat, but they're at that point now that they need more fertilizer. So what I'm going to be doing is adding chicken manure pellets to the base of these plants. I'll do that at this stage, and probably in another 4 weeks time add another handful of chicken manure, just with my scoop of chicken manure pellets. I'm just going to put just a little pour just to the base of each plant, and that's plenty, as you can just see right there, right near the irrigation line. And as that dissolves, it will slowly feed the plant. And just continuing down the row and just adding a little bit of fertilizer to the base. Just finished applying that fertilizer, and as you can see, all the plants have a little bit at the base of each of them. I'm going to run the irrigation now, let that dissolve a little bit and really get that process of breaking down that fertilizer going. In about 4 weeks time, I will be hilling these plants. I like to hill my broccoli and my brassicas to keep them upright, especially as they get larger. And when I come to hill the plants, I will be adding another round of fertilizer, and that should keep them going till about 2 weeks outside of harvest, when I will give them a final application of liquid feed. I'm also actually at the moment starting essentially a 4-week rotation on my broccoli. I'll be starting seedlings and planting seedlings out in the garden every 4 weeks. I am running a little bit late with my second planting of seedlings, but I've just started them off now, and I'll show them to you in a moment. The idea is I aim to plant 28 to 30 plants of broccoli throughout my garden from February all the way to the last planting in late August, early September. I find you can grow, in Sydney in particular, you can grow broccoli pretty much all the way through the cooler months. They become our staple, and that's part of my succession planning that I do when it comes to broccoli. We like to use it for dinner throughout the cooler months, and having that constant planting really helps. Now that I'm starting to clear out a lot of my summer veggies and planting brassicas out, I'm going to continue raising more seedlings. I've planted out my cauliflowers. I'm not going to start any more seedlings now. But my broccoli, I'm going to start my next round of seedlings, but I'm also going to start a few other brassicas. And just to show you what I'm growing at the moment, I've just planted out 3 tray loads of seedlings. What I'm looking at starting at the moment is a lot of Asian veggies. We do use a lot of Asian veggies in our house, so it's now time to grow your Asian veggies. I'm growing 4 punnets worth of kailan, Chinese broccoli. I grew this Asian Express. I grew Kailan Express last year, and actually came out to be a really great crop. Very easy to grow. I've also, at this stage, if you're looking at growing Chinese cabbage, otherwise known as wombok, now is the time to do it. The variety I'm growing is Matilda. Again, I've started 32 seedlings, 4 punnets worth, and these will be planted out in early March. I should be able to get 3 plantings worth of Chinese cabbage in my patch this season, as I did last year. On my cabbages, I'll be starting to plant cabbages in the start of March. Looking at 2 varieties that I planted last year: green coronet for my green cabbage and red queen for my red cabbage. Again, it's just the first planting of 32 seedlings each. I will be planting 1 in March, looking for a second planting in May, June, and potentially a late one in July. This actually, the green coronet is very tolerant of heat, and it's slow to bolt, which is a great characteristics of this plant. And on my broccoli, I'm going to plant another round of Aurora. This is a 42 cell punnet. This will be plenty for my next plant. I expect to at least plant out 28 seedlings from this patch, and I'm hoping to get them planted out in about 4 weeks time. And before I wrap up this video, just want to show you my mango tree. Been waiting a few months for this to start get ready for harvest, and as you can see, my fruit is just starting to color. It's looking beautiful, and I've got a lot of fruit here, not huge numbers, but I've got a couple of big ones here, and so far no problems with any bats or possums, thankfully. But I don't want to tempt it, so I'm going to start harvesting this week. Go through and start harvesting a few of the fruits, let them further color up on the kitchen table. I'll harvest a few and show you what I end up with. In harvesting them, I'm just going to see if it just comes away from the plant. There you go. It just breaks off nice and easily. That's ready. Just got to watch out for that sap. That sap can burn, but that's a beautiful piece of fruit there. Just finished harvesting my mangoes. You can just see that I got myself 5 large ones and a few of the smaller ones. If only you could smell through the camera, they smell amazing. I'm going to take them inside, let them color a little bit more, but I'm going to try some of the smaller ones just to see how sweet they are. And by the look of things, if they are sweet, I'm going to be harvesting the rest and taking all that fruit off that tree. I will go through and give it a bit of a tip prune in about a couple of weeks time once all the fruit's off, and hopefully that will encourage the mango to produce more next season. Thank you very much everyone for watching this video. I really appreciate all the support, and I hope to see you in the next one.